Hello, folks. My name is Rich Longo of Flycast Partners. I would like to thank you for joining us for ISM, presented by Flycast Partners' very own Bobby McCullough. Bobby has over 2 decades selling, implementing, and supporting a variety of solutions, including IT service management, operations, financial management, which includes utilization management, IT asset management, infrastructure management, change management, incident management, expense management, and integration, and IT operations analytics. Been involved in a lot. He's configured demonstration systems using JSON, file ingestion through application API in Python, and has added value in multi-product engagements, providing overall solution views and clarity. His extensive experience in lean methodologies and proven record of designing and implementing more efficient and cost-effective procedures and technologies is invaluable. So welcome. Before we get started, Bobby, let me introduce Flycast Partners. Flycast Partners here to deliver a seriously amazing IT experience. Founded and staffed by personnel who have many years of experience in the IT space, we took the best ideas from collective experiences and added the best components necessary to grow and become a leading value-added reseller in the North American IT market. We offer best-in-class implementation services and training in ITSM, ITAM, ITOM, ESM, and workload automation spaces, all using ITIL best practice. Our professional services team can easily scale up or down to meet the IT needs of any organization, regardless of your size or complexity or budgetary restrictions. We offer implementation services both on-site and remote, and that remote part's pretty important in today's world, as well as training to reinforce your company's long-term IT success. We also offer ongoing remote administration and support service offerings that enable the organization for you to focus on those normal day-to-day operations, freeing up precious time and money. Feel free to reach out to us at any time at 844-FLYCAST, that's 844-359-2278, or visit our website and chat with one of our live chat personnel, our experts. They'll be more than happy to chat with you right there in that bottom right-hand corner down there. Well, you can also peruse through our website looking for data sheets and white papers and anything else that you feel might be of value or things that you might want to share or upcoming events. Now, with that being said, I want to turn this presentation over to the star of the show, Mr. Bobby McCullough. How you doing, Bobby?
Great, Rich. Thanks for that introduction. I think we probably should have invited him to come on today.
Nah. And and I'd like to apologize for the audience in advance. Our platform's being a little glitchy for some reason today, so bear with us here. And if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to put something in the Q&A box. We'd be happy to put you live to ask your question for Bobby. He'd be happy to answer it for you. If you don't want us to put you live, I can read the question off. So with that being said, I'll let you take the show.
Great. Thanks, Rich. Welcome, everybody. So today we're going to talk about service management, but we're going to take it from a particular perspective. You guys probably already are doing service management at some level, but really this is about the side that's exposed to the world, the side that your end user customer sees, that self-service portal that they might be using to get into to find out about their tickets or enter their tickets. So today we want to really just focus on this. So this is something that I've really been talking about. Rich kind of gave away my age there a little bit, talking about my 2 decades. During that time, that entire time, I've been talking about something called the Amazon experience. So when your end user customers are at home and they need let me see, what's the last thing I needed? I needed some smoking chips for my smoker on the patio. So I jumped onto Amazon, very quickly found what I needed, and placed my order. I didn't have to talk to anyone. No one had to verify anything with me. I didn't have to go through any training to place that order, and that's been happening for 20 plus years now. When your end user customers at home, and that's really the Amazon experience. They expect to be able to easily find what they need, and then enter a request for that. They want to be able to check up on it and find out what the status is. All things that in the past have all been activities that you've had to involve people in, people that could be better devoted to more strategic activities than just answering questions from end user customers. They need their questions answered. I don't mean to minimize that, because it's very critical that's why service management solutions today have surveys incorporated into them, so that while you may be managing against your SLAs, that lets you know physically or in reality what occurred with regard to your rules, your agreement with the customer. But the survey lets you know how the customer felt emotionally about what happened, and that's key, because when they talk to other people about it, it's really not going to come from a place of logic. It's going to come from a place of emotion when they describe the experience. And so all of those things come together and really start from this self-service portal. And so this is definitely something that you should be taking advantage of. If your solution has one, you should be taking advantage of this, and you can probably learn some best practices and tricks and tips during the rest of the presentation today. If you don't have a portal, you need to get one, and Flycast can help you do that. Flycast can help you with best practices for implementing it and getting a service catalog up and running. So first things first here, you need a portal that's configurable, and you don't need to be, you don't necessarily want to have to hire a developer to create that portal. So you don't need to be in the Ivanti service management self-service portal. I can easily grab elements, drop them here anywhere in on my form. I've got control of the objects. What's my description? I can make that my language. Control of the fonts. I've got control of the colors, the labels, all of those type of things. So I can really make this mine and make this look like it belongs in my as a part of my ecosystem, my technology environment, whatever my organization is. I've got the ability to define it for a tablet, define it for a phone, and test those and review those, make sure those all work the way that I expect. So that's key. That's key to providing that Amazon experience, so that users can get to what they need when they want to get to it. So obviously the desktop version, a tablet or a phone. Rarely do I order anything from Amazon from a web portal anymore. It's almost always from my iPad or my iPhone using the app. So you want to provide that consistent experience. Now, what can you provide in that? So alerting. You're going to have tickets that come into your organization that rise to the level of a problem, an outage that might need to be broadcast. And so you're going to want the ability on the back end when those tickets come in to broadcast that out and alert that there may be an outage in this building or on that floor or wherever it's appropriate. But these alerts aren't just limited to tickets that come into the system. You can create standalone alerts for something as mundane as we're going to clean the refrigerator out at 3 o'clock today. So the alerts really can cover IT and non-IT activities that you might need to broadcast. We've got imports. So if you have other business units that want to take advantage of these alerts, we could use those imports to bring those alerts in and publish those out through the portal as well. So you're going to need a search. We've got a couple of search boxes here in the portal to make it easy for you to find what you're looking for. I'm trying to find information about email. I can easily pull up knowledge right here about email right there from that search. But speaking of knowledge, let's take a look at the knowledge management area of the portal. So if you're not currently using knowledge management, this is key to shifting left. This is where, because your customers are your end user customers are looking for services or fixes that you might provide. They're going to want to find potentially answers to those fixes, and you're going to want to provide them so that they don't have to enter a ticket or involve any of your staff. So this information is all importable. We provide on the back end a role and complete functionality around knowledge management, process management for those knowledge articles so that you can vet them appropriately through the appropriate approvals and before publishing them. We've got the ability to differentiate between public and private knowledge. So public knowledge is available both on the customer portal as well as your internal staff portal. Private knowledge is only available on the internal staff. So that's information that you wouldn't necessarily registry edits. That's not something you want to publish to your end user, but that may be something that your staff may need. So that gives you an idea of how those can be differentiated. The system allows you to categorize your knowledge articles and provide types as well. This just helps people better navigate to the answers when you've got a large knowledge base data set. The system's going to provide you cues to help your end users determine which articles may be more helpful. So here I'm looking at Microsoft Word articles, and I can see that this one's got 5 stars and this one has none. So maybe this one's going to be the one that's been helping people lately. So I'm going to dive into that one. So we're going to provide you the ability to have this feedback, to capture this, report on it, and understand which articles are being helpful, which articles are not. A non-helpful article may just need to be reworded, or maybe it needs to be unpublished, it needs to be archived. It's not something that's needed anymore. You've got all of those capabilities. The articles themselves are HTML, fully HTML. So you're able to link other articles, provide URL links, videos, images, PDFs, anything that you might need to help impart that information necessary from that article. You can put that in embed that in the HTML. Obviously, we talked about the rating. We make it really simple, though. We give you a rating system, but also a yes/no for if the article was helpful or not. And then finally, a place to leave feedback, comments, so that you understand how the article is being used by the end users. All this information is reportable, so that you're going to understand what's going on with your knowledge, what's being used, what's not being used, what may need to be archived or edited, all of those capabilities within the knowledge management area of the solution. So now let's take a look at, to me, the real magic of the self-service portal really comes from the service catalog. I need something fixed, I need something new, and this is an example of a recent out-of-the-box service catalog, and it's a little over 70 catalog items, complete with workflows and forms specifically designed for those catalog items, those specific items. You can see here from our filter options, our categories here on the left, that it's not just IT. We cover more than just IT services. So, if you're looking for a system, Ivanti Service Management really is not going to just limit you to providing services for the IT department. You really can expand. And most organizations, for example, an onboarding. And onboarding is by necessity going to involve more business units than just the IT business unit. And so that's an example of something that we provide out of the box. But it is a very good example of what's possible also in the system. If you've already got Ivanti Service Manager, we're gonna take a look at this onboarding request and how this is created. We're going to look a little bit at how it works, and then we'll talk a little bit about how it's created. So I want to note here first, estimate of 2 weeks. Again, this is key. for shifting left, providing that Amazon experience. Your customers have to know, have to understand, and have a reasonable expectation of when something's going to be delivered. And that's completely configurable in the portal. So you can establish what that is and impart that information right up front. But we go beyond that. We actually can put a guardrail back behind the scenes that enforces that estimate as well. And I'll show you that here in just a second. So we click request. Now remember, these catalog items each have a form that's completely configurable by you, your administrator. You're able to determine what these labels are, whether a field even exists, if it's required. You're able to determine the drop-down options in a list. You're able to establish guardrails, like a start date here. My first start date that I can select is 2 weeks out. So really a lot of options available in these forms, but really these out-of-the-box catalog items are really already pre-configured for you to have most of what you need. Obviously, name information, department information, pulling from that table in the Ivanti Service Management System. Location information. Obviously, if you're onboarding someone, you got to know where. You got to know where the cube needs to be set up, where the phone needs to be turned on, and so on. What desk do we put the computer on? So we're going to have that facility information in. That's also how we can help with those facility requests through the service portal as well. So here at the equipment details, now is where we get to where how the form can really be dynamic. So we've just got two questions here. Is a computer required? Is a mobile phone required? So yes, computer is going to be required. Well, the first thing it does is provide me with some other options. One of these is sort of a generic asset request. Here I want a notebook. I'm not specifying which type, which model, or anything like that, size or anything. It's just a generic notebook choice. You can make these selections as specific or as general as you need. Down here on mobile phone required, if I select that, notice here I've got specific models that I can select. So depending on what your need is, with any of these type of selections, you've got both of those capabilities. When I selected notebook, it populated, it provided dynamically some of these fields for me. Maybe I need an ergonomic keyboard and mouse. Now, this is sort of the defined equipment area that comes with this standard form. Here we've got sort of a generic area. Do we need a performance evaluation tool? What are some additional productivity tools that we might need? Just sort of some catch-all areas because you don't necessarily want to build this form out to the nth degree with every option selectable. Some of these you're probably going to have a generic selection available, and that's what these boxes are for. Now, if I review and submit, actually I got to go back. It's going to yell at me. I got to go back and fill some fields in. So and he's an administrator. We'll make him a CIO. This is an important guy. We'll give him a start date. I think we're good. And everything's good. Notice my status box over on the right. This is configurable as well, whether or not you show this or not. And this just keeps a running total. My background really comes from ITSM, chargeback and showback. And one thing I've learned over this time doing that for customers is that even if you're not doing chargeback and showback, providing this information when a request is being made really has a direct impact on behavior. You can drive savings just by providing this information. Again, even if you're not doing anything with it other than providing it. So I'm going to go ahead and click submit. And now my request is out. It's been submitted. I've got a view created request button, and it just aired on me. Getting the right roll here, guys. So the first thing that happens the first thing that happens now, I'm logged in as everyone, so I'm the end user customer. I'm also the manager, service desk manager, service desk analyst, administrator. So I've got access to everything. So my employee entered this request, and the first thing it did before anyone was notified anything was anything of it. It came to me for approval to make sure that this was okay for this request to be fulfilled. And so that came by way of an email. I could reply to that email, approve or deny, just a simple word and reply, and that handles that process. Or I can click a link so that I can review it. Maybe there's some notes or attachments that I might need to see. Those are all accessible from here. But we're just going to go ahead and click approve. I'm good with this, and submit it. So now the request has been entered, and it's also been approved, and now it's moving along the process on the back end. Everything that needs to happen out on the front end, the end user customer has been notified, hey, we got your ticket. Manager's been notified, hey, we need your approval. Customer's been notified that your ticket was approved, and so now it's in your warehouse. So your wheelhouse, excuse me. So let's look at a little bit about how that was built, how that request item is created. So here, request offering is our service catalog, and under our HR services category, I have my employee onboarding request. I'm going to go here, and here's where we can define those categories. What category the offering or the catalog item appears in, what's the label for those categories. You're able to define all those, how the catalog item is going to behave. Are you going to show the price information? You're going to show the delivery time and so on. Are you going to enable cancellation as well as editing on the request once it's been submitted? Normally those are editing is not a best practice. Some people want to have it though, so we've got the option. We talked about that guardrail. Go right ahead, Rich.
Real quick, we do have a question from the audience that just came in.
Great.
And it might be slightly behind from where you're at, but does the window that shows where the PC is going also track the company's inventory of PCs?
It definitely can.
Okay.
It definitely can. We've got an item here. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have that in this system to show you, but we definitely have that, and we'll probably have another webinar later this year where you actually have an inventory choice, and when you're doing asset management, you can provide that detailed inventory choice, and then when it comes to the back end, your staff the system will automatically marry up the location for the request with storage locations for that inventory. And so so your end user customer selects from a specific inventory item with a picture. Your staff selects from defined inventory in stock, or knows right away that you need to make a purchase order. That was a great question.
Folks, keep them coming.
Are we? Yep. So we were talking about those back end guardrails. This is where we can define that delivery time, and we've got options on, is it days, weeks, hours, whatever that is. You can define that right there, as well as a price. Some of your requests may have again, a lot of you are probably not doing chargeback or showback, but this is still helpful for budgeting purposes. So let's take a look at the form. This is where we can define that form. So here I've got a field, new question. I don't need that. I don't like the name department. I prefer, if I can type right, I prefer business unit. So we can change the labels there. We can maybe here on employment type, We've got contract, full-time, part-time. Maybe we want intern. So that this is all completely editable so that we can manage those options, manage those fields that are going to be on the form. We can easily, I've got something going on with my mouse, my keyboard. We can easily grab fields, drop them right into the form, and then modify, manage whatever data element that is. So that's the form. Now, one of the questions, I'm not sure what's going on, guys. I think I'm looking at my keyboard here. I think something's happened with my keyboard. So one of the questions I always get is, Bobby, is that just one column? The form actually can handle up to 3 columns. Obviously, you've got labels and then data, so you have to keep that in mind. But organizations that are using larger widescreen monitors, you might be able to get away with a 3-column format. Now, this is, in my mind, the request fulfillment, the workflow. This is really the magic that happens behind the scenes. And so we're gonna take some time to step through this workflow because there's really a lot of neat things going on here. So when the workflow starts, first thing it does is it checks the cost. You know, that label that we saw over on the right when we were over in the customer portal. What's that total? And in this case, it looks to see if it's over $2,000. So then it sends a email to the manager. Could send it to the manager, could send it to a specific person, could send it to a group of people. All of that is completely configurable. How you determine approval or denial, all of that is configurable as well as notifications. So, letting the approver know they've got something to approve, let the requester know how the approval went. All of that is configurable right here from this block. And then as a part of that, once it's been approved, it takes another look at that cost. It says, is it over $4,000? Now we've got a second level of approval that maybe this requires somebody from the C-suite, somebody, manager or higher level in the IT team. All of that is completely configurable within these workflows. At this point, no one has been notified of anything except the end user that we've got your ticket and the approvers that need to be notified. So it's completely, a left side operation at this point until the final approval has occurred, and now it's in your inbox, your electronic inbox. In this example, we've got 3 tasks. So Ivanti Service Management allows you to organize your work by task, your processes by task. So anytime you've got a request offering, a catalog item that you're managing, you've got certain tasks that need to be performed. Those tasks could be in parallel, or they could be in series, or a combination of the two. I was talking to someone earlier today that in an onboarding request, the first thing that has to happen is the Active Directory group has to get their login set up, and then once their login is set up, everybody else can do all their work. And so that would be a series where Active Directory sits after the approval, and then all the other tasks are come in immediately after that Active Directory task. These tasks can be routed to a team or routed to an individual. So, and you're not limited on any of the tasks. What happens on one task does not have any bearing on what happens on the other, unless you want it to through the flow. Now, we've got something neat that happens here, that we've got a little program here that looks to basically it's joining output from all 3 of these tasks and says, tell me when they're all completed. And it lets this system know that, yes, we've heard from all of them that they are completed. Once we've understood that they're all completed, we can automatically mark it fulfilled. And at this point, we could send a survey, close the ticket out, whatever's appropriate on your end. but that allows you to really automate that process so that the customer comes in and has that Amazon experience. They can easily find what it is they're looking for through the searches, through the categorization, just like they would on Amazon. Find those items. They're submitted. You're not even really alerted until the approvals have completed and been approved. And then at that point, your tasks all appear in your reports, in your dashboards, so that you know you've got something to work on. And the system then just sits and waits for those tasks to be completed. Once they're completed, it can handle the rest. These workflows can do a lot. The workflows can create other tickets. You can have a ticket that creates another ticket for like a maintenance ticket. You can run web services. So if you've got integrations with other systems, you're able to run those web services and maybe kick off some element here on turning up a new employee through that integration. That can all just happen automatically as a part of the process flow within these workflows. So very, very powerful workflow engine, and really allow you to automate what you're doing and govern your processes as well. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is publishing these catalog items. Great, Bobby. That's a lot of catalog items, but everybody doesn't need access to all those things. That's fine. You could limit any of those by org unit, business unit, or location. So you've really got options there on who can access any of these catalog items and what's available. So I want to jump back now that we've kind of explained that process. We've stepped through that process a little bit. I want to jump back and show you what's really possible with the Ivanti suite of products. So we've got our Ivanti Service Manager and Endpoint Manager integrated. So we can take advantage of what Endpoint Manager brings to the table. Endpoint Manager allows us to install patches, allows us to discover and inventory our network, keep drivers updated. It also allows us to create software packages and install software packages. And so through an integrated system with Unified IT, we can do things like this. So here, if I go to my IT services, I've got a FileZilla install request. And notice that estimated time. It takes 2 minutes to do this. So I'm going to click request. And this is for my employee Jill user. And Jill has one machine that she's assigned to, so it's that machine. So we're going to review and submit this, and it looks good, so we're going to submit it now. So the ticket's in the system. And so now if I'm the person responsible for approving or denying that, here's that request. And I can see that it's a FileZilla install request. It's for Jill. Jill just moved over to our IT department from marketing. So FileZilla is probably something that she's going to need. I'm going to go ahead and approve that and submit. So this is request 10398. So let's go over to our staff portal and let's look for service request 10398. So this is looking at all my active service requests. Notice what's not here. That request is no longer active. So let's go and let's look at all service requests. Here's 10398. And I can see it was a FileZilla install, requires manager approval. It got manager approval, and the task was completed. So if I go here to my desktop. Let's take a look at the desktop here. Here is our Win10 machine, and there's our FileZilla client. So what the system did for us there, we're going to go look at the workflow for that. IT services, FileZilla install request fulfillment. So here we got an approval. And once the system approved, then it just automatically did everything else. It integrated with EPM, launched the installation of the appropriate program, and did it all automatically. No one on the EPM side had to interact. Everything just happened. The application came up on the desktop automatically. So that's what's possible. That's what's possible through a unified IT environment where you're bringing together tools like that Endpoint Manager solution and the Ivanti Service Desk solution in this case. Rich, we've got just a few more minutes left. I thought I'd pause and see if there were any more questions.
We don't have any more questions from the audience, but folks, you do have a couple minutes here. If you'd like to ask a question, by all means, type it in, or if you'd like, I can also put you live so you can ask it live. Bobby, great presentation. Thank you for the topic today. It's very much appreciated. Appreciate your time. Folks, once again, type your question in. We'll give you another minute or so and go from there. Anything last minute that you wanted to throw in there, Bobby?
I didn't really talk. I alluded to the fact that we had facilities services. This just gives you an idea of some of the things that are possible. You know, heating and cooling requests, plumbing requests, conference room reservations, office moves, all of those type of things are already available here, as well as telecom requests too.
That's great stuff. Very good. Well, it doesn't look like we have any additional questions, but folks, if you do have questions and you're just a little shy today during our presentation, please, by all means, call 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278. Or you can go to our website. And on our website, in the right-hand corner, there's a little thing called a chat box. And we have IT experts standing by Monday through Friday during normal business hours, waiting to answer your questions and to help you. Or you can email us at info@flycastpartners.com. Once again, Bobby, thank you so much for your time and taking time away from your busy schedule. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you, Rich.
Audience, thank you for your time, and I ask that you please be safe until our next meeting or webinar or podcast. We'll see you then. Thank you.